She laughed, not nervously, not awkwardly. She laughed like someone who already knew the ending. The music was too loud. Glasses clinked. The ocean air of Newport Beach drifted through the open terrace doors. People smiled. People watched. And my wife, Ava, was looking past me, not at me, at him. She leaned slightly toward Logan, her hand brushing his arm like it belonged there, like I wasn't standing 2 feet away, like 10 years of marriage was just background noise. Then she turned to me and said it. I could leave you right now. She said it casually, almost playfully, as if she were testing a theory aloud. The room didn't go silent. No dramatic pause. No one noticed, except me. And something inside me went completely still. No anger, no panic, no fear, just clarity. I looked at her, really looked. The woman I rebuilt houses for, the woman I thought I was protecting, the woman who now smiled like I was an inconvenience. So I nodded once and said the only honest thing left. Go ahead. Her smile flickered. Just for a second. Not because she loved me, because she expected resistance. That moment, right there, was the first crack in everything she thought she controlled. People think betrayal explodes. It doesn't. It erodes, quietly, politely, until one sentence finishes the job. Later that night, standing alone by the balcony, watching waves hit the shore, I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't losing my wife. I had already lost her, and she had been slowly teaching me how to live without her for years. I wasn't always invisible. I'm an architect, not the glossy kind that designs glass towers for magazines, but the kind who restores old buildings, brick by brick, beam by beam. I believe houses remember things, that walls hold stories, that foundations matter more than appearances. My values were simple: a safe home, loyalty, respect. I thought those were universal. I met Ava in a quiet art gallery years ago. She stood in front of a charcoal sketch of an abandoned house, staring like she could hear it breathing. You know, she said without looking at me, people abandon places long before they abandon people. I laughed. She didn't. That intensity drew me in. The fire in her eyes. The way she spoke like life owed her something, but also like she planned to take it herself. We talked for hours, about buildings, about cities, about how history gets erased and rewritten. I fell for her passion. What I didn't see was her appetite. We bought a house built in the 1920s, solid bones, cracked plaster, original hardwood floors hidden under decades of neglect. I worked nights and weekends restoring it. My hands bled, my back ached. I loved every second. Ava picked furniture, art, lighting. She curated the image. I built the structure. She built the story people would see. At first, we felt like a team. Then something shifted. She started talking about people instead of places, about restaurants instead of rooms, about trips instead of time together. Her phone never left her hand. She stopped asking about my day and started correcting it. You should network more. You should dress differently. You're too comfortable. Comfort to her became an insult. The bedroom changed too. Not dramatically, quietly. An invisible line down the mattress. Accidental touches disappeared. Conversations turned logistical. We slept next to each other like polite strangers sharing a train compartment. And I told myself this was normal, that marriages evolve, that passion settles. But respect doesn't settle. It either grows or it dies. And hers was dying fast. She started comparing me to other men, casually, publicly. He travels more. He understands ambition. He doesn't obsess over work like you. Then Logan appeared. He walked through my house like a buyer, not a guest. Complimented the structure, questioned the choices, looked at Ava like he already knew the answer. That night, for the first time, my instincts screamed. And for the first time in my life, I didn't ignore them. I tried to convince myself I was imagining things, that I was tired, overworked, too sensitive. Men do that. We negotiate with our instincts because admitting the truth would mean tearing down everything we built. Logan was just a client. Ava was just bored. The tension was just a phase. That's what I told myself as I packed for a 3-day trip to Savannah to close a restoration deal. 3 days, 1 signature, easy money. She barely looked up when I told her I was leaving. "Drive safe," she said, already scrolling. No kiss, no pause. On the road back, something felt wrong in a way I couldn't explain. Not fear, not jealousy, absence, like I had already left my own life and didn't know it yet. I stopped for flowers anyway. Yellow ones, her favorite. The kind she used to say made the house feel alive. The front door was unlocked. That alone told me everything. Inside, the house was too quiet. No music, no TV, no movement. Just the faint hum of electricity in walls I had rebuilt with my own hands. I stepped inside slowly, keys still in my pocket. And then I heard her laugh. Not the laugh she used with me. The lighter one. The careless one. The one meant for someone who didn't have history to weigh it down. It came from the walk-in closet. I didn't rush. I didn't shout. I stood perfectly still and listened. She was talking to someone on the phone. Comfortable, confident, unafraid. "I can't keep pretending," she said. "I mean, come on. Grant is reliable, not exciting." A pause, then a softer laugh. "Yes, Logan, of course you." My hand tightened around the flowers. "They don't leave the bank until you've emptied it," she continued. "You don't walk away until everything is transferred. Houses, accounts, stability." She wasn't confessing. She was bragging. That was the moment my marriage stopped being a tragedy and became a case file. I quietly opened the recording app on my phone. Her voice stayed calm, strategic, calculated. "I'll end it when it's convenient. Not before." I stepped back, walked out, placed the flowers on the hallway table like an offering at a funeral no one else knew had happened. At the hotel that night, I checked in under my own name and stared at the ceiling. The woman I loved didn't exist anymore. Maybe she never had. What existed now was evidence. And the moment I accepted that, everything changed. The next morning, I didn't confront her. That was the first real decision I made. I drove straight to Atlanta and walked into Howard Keaton's office with a phone, a recording, and no visible anger. Howard listened without interrupting. He didn't nod, didn't react. He just watched my face while Ava's voice filled the room, calm and transactional. When the recording ended, he leaned back and said only one thing. "Do you want revenge, or do you want freedom?" I told him the truth. I want to keep what I built, and never beg again. That was when the tone changed. Howard didn't talk about emotions. He talked about leverage, about timing, about how people reveal themselves when they think they're winning. We reviewed the prenuptial agreement like surgeons, clause by clause, asset by asset. The document Ava once laughed at suddenly became a map. Trusts were prepared. Ownership structures simplified. Accounts flagged. Nothing dramatic. Just quiet, irreversible motion. I moved my personal documents first. Birth certificate, passport, the watch my father gave me, then my clothes, then my tools. I stopped thinking of the house as ours. It became a stage, and Ava didn't notice any of it. I started observing instead of reacting. Money transfers to an art foundation I'd never heard of. Frequent lunches that lasted 3 hours. Logan's name appearing in calendars disguised as site review. I screenshot everything. Each action Ava took stopped hurting and started clarifying. I moved into a small apartment across town. Bare walls, mattress on the floor, silence. For the first time in months, I slept. The house changed after I left. Photos disappeared. Family objects moved. My presence erased. The place I rebuilt with care became a showroom for her ego. And still, I said nothing. At a dinner with clients, she laughed at my work obsession, rolling her eyes like I was an embarrassing habit. That was the moment I knew my exit had to be public. Not cruel, final. She planned a party in Newport Beach like it was a coronation. New guests, new crowd, new version of herself. I approved every invoice, catering, music, staff, rentals. Howard knew the date. The house was perfect that night. Warm lights, open doors, music drifting into the ocean air. Ava moved like she owned the world. Logan stood close, too close. Before the guests arrived, she kissed my cheek quickly. "Don't be boring tonight," she whispered. I nodded. "I'll do my best." At 8:07 p.m., Howard texted, "Documents ready." I stepped onto the balcony, listening to laughter fill the house that had already let me go. I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity. By the time the terrace was full, Ava and Logan weren't hiding anything. Hands brushing, shared jokes. The posture of two people who believe the future belongs to them. People noticed. Whispers started. Ava didn't care. She raised her glass and joked about me being safe but dull, smiling like she was doing me a favor. That was when I spoke, calmly, clearly. I didn't insult her. I didn't shout. I explained about the transfers, about the recordings, about the divorce papers already filed, about the accounts already frozen. Logan tried to leave. Ava froze. I wished her a pleasant evening and walked out. Behind me, the party kept going. Just not for her. I didn't answer her messages. Not the angry ones, not the desperate ones. Not the voice note where her voice finally cracked and she asked why Logan had blocked her. Silence was no longer a weapon. It was a boundary. In court, her attorney tried to paint me as cold, controlling, emotionally distant. A man who used paperwork instead of conversation. Howard didn't argue. He presented facts. The prenuptial agreement. The financial transfers. The recording. The timeline. The judge didn't rush. She listened the way people do when the truth has weight. Ava stared straight ahead, jaw tight, makeup flawless, hands shaking just enough to be visible. The ruling was clear. The agreement stood. Infidelity established. Assets protected. Ava received what she had already agreed to years ago. Nothing more. No drama, no speeches, just consequences. I realized then something important. I had lost my wife long before I ever walked into that courtroom. The trial didn't end the marriage. It only documented the absence of it. She moved back in with her mother, sold the art, sold the furniture, sold the image. I heard she worked in real estate now, selling dreams she no longer believed in. Logan vanished. I restored buildings again, slowly, carefully, brick by brick. My new house was quiet. No echo of judgment, no performance, just space. I learned something simple that no one teaches men early enough. A man doesn't need admiration. He needs respect, a safe place to sleep, and the freedom to leave when those disappear. Sometimes the strongest move isn't confrontation, it's permission. When she laughed and said, I could leave right now. And I replied, go ahead. That wasn't surrender. That was the moment everything finally changed. And if you're watching this, standing in a house that no longer feels like home, remember this: you don't lose your power when someone walks away. You lose it when you beg them to stay.